Hey there, and welcome to the beginning of Coding with C#. In this course, I hope to teach you the basics of not only the C# programming language, but also core concepts of computer science as well. I'm gearing this content more towards beginners, but later in the course we will cover some more advanced topics and ideas. In this episode, we'll simply be setting up our development environment, as well as going over exactly what that means and some history of C# and what it is. This one can get a little lectury, but we will get to some coding by the end of the video, I promise. C# is a widely used programming language in the world of computing. It can be used from everything from game engines to mobile apps to websites and desktop applications. To get started, we have to install what's called an IDE, or an integrated development environment. That's just a big fancy term for a program in which to create software in. There are many IDEs out there for different programming languages, but for C#, the best one around is Microsoft's Visual Studio. Luckily, they offer a free version that gets most of the jobs done for us that we need done. To get Visual Studio, you just have to install it from the Microsoft website, which is right here. Make sure to get the Community Edition when you're downloading it. It's a smart idea to go ahead and make a Microsoft account as well, so we can cloud save our Visual Studio settings later. I'll put the link in the description of the video. After it downloads and you run the executable, you should get something similar to this pop up. For now, the default settings should be fine. We won't be using anything crazy right now. Maybe later on we'll get in and modify and add some things, but for now, this is all we really need. So go ahead and just let it all install and then open it after it's finished. After you get it all installed and opened up, this is what will pop up. This is the home screen of Visual Studio. From here we can change settings, we can install packages, but for now I think we're just going to start a new console application. We'll go ahead and get started coding. So go up to File, hit New, Project, and then we're going to want a console app. We'll use .NET Framework, don't worry about what that means just yet. Name it whatever you want to, so console tutorial, if I can spell, and hit OK. And it'll create your project. Okay, so it'll take you to a program.cs. It's always a good thing to change this, so we can call this like main driver. Yeah, we want to change references. We'll explain what that means later. So after we get it renamed, we have the core of our program here. See, in namespace, this is the name of the project you made. The class is the name of the file. And this is the static main. This function is where everything's going to run. So any code you have inside of this is going to run as soon as the program starts. Up here are what's called the using statements. We don't have to worry about those right now. You would import other code libraries, that sort of thing. We'll get into that later. So for now, let's just go ahead and get started coding. Okay, if you were to run this program right now, see, it's just going to close instantly. So essentially what that's doing is it's reading through the main method and seeing nothing in it, and it's just closing because it's done. It's executed everything it needs to. So what we can do is, since this is a console application, we can call the console class. So we're talking directly to the computer's console. So console dot, and we're going to do read key. And you can hover over read key and see what that does. So it obtains the next character or function key pressed by the user. So basically what that means is it just takes in a key, the next key that's been put in by the user. So if we start it, now the console waits, and if I hit the enter key, it closes. So got a little bit more functionality there. And so what we can do is we can say console dot, and then we're going to write down a line to the screen. So console dot write line, and then inside of here it takes words, so it takes what's called a string. We'll get into those in the next video. So we'll put 2 quotation marks and say hello world. Now save it and run it, and you can see your text right here, and it waits. So you've just written your first C# program, essentially. Everybody starts with the hello world. Now that we've written our first C# program and gotten Visual Studio installed, we can, in the next video, move on to writing some more robust programs and maybe get into some graphical programs, so like GUI, graphical user interface programs, which you can easily do in Visual Studio. But I think in the next video we're going to talk about variables and what that means and what those are. They're a key component of computer science and programming in general, so we're going to get started on those in the next video. So until next time, see what you can get the console to do. Check out the console class. So if you start typing console and then do the dot, it'll show you all sorts of things you can do. This is called IntelliSense, and IntelliSense will tell you all sorts of things you can do with the console class. So right here it's like background color, and it'll explain to you how to do some of those things, and you can do some research on your own. But see what you can do with the console, and then next episode we'll start on variables. And until next time, have fun.